So if I were to title what I'm about to say, the title would be, "Thank you, Lord Balfour, we'll take it from here." And this is the key message. What really created the modern state of Israel, what continues to ensure the modern state of Israel, is deliberate Jewish action. Specifically, deliberate Zionist action. We can discuss the background. Everything is correct. British philo-Semitism, British anti-Semitism, British war interests. All of these things are correct. But the factor that made the difference was deliberate Jewish action. Without Chaim Weizmann, without the spirit of Zionism, inaugurated specifically 20 years before the Balfour Declaration, we would have still looked at British philo-Semitism, British anti-Semitism, British war interests, but no declaration. Because that is the factor that matters. And in many ways, what the Balfour Declaration represents is the success of the Zionist spirit. It is the first major diplomatic achievement of the Zionist movement. But it is an achievement that is due to a spirit that was inaugurated specifically in the first Zionist Congress. What is the Zionist spirit? The word has been, through deliberate effort, made so toxic. But if we remind ourselves what it really is all about, Zionism was about the fact that the Jewish people decided to be masters of their fate, to finally take action to change the course of their history, to say to the world that we might be dealt some of the worst cards in history and by a whole lot of dealers, but that does not mean that this is our future. And we are done praying for God to save us, and we are done waiting for the Messiah to come. We are going to be our own Messiahs. We are going to be the vehicles of our own redemption. This is the spirit of Zionism. The spirit of Zionism is the spirit of collective action for a purpose of self-redemption of a people, for themselves, by themselves. So the answer to why all of this happened is the Jews did it. Specifically, the Zionists did it. Every step on the way, from the first Zionist Congress all the way to the establishment of the State of Israel, every step was fragile. Nothing was guaranteed. Nothing preordained. Think of what the Balfour Declaration really says. Let's say you go to a powerful person with something you really want, and they tell you, "I like the idea, I'll do my best to help." How serious is that? Would you view that as the thing that makes it happen? That's what the Balfour Declaration is. It says, we like the idea, we'll do our best to help. In the background, we're making a whole lot of other commitments. But really, it's only the follow-up by the Zionists and the Jews that even made the Balfour Declaration, in retrospect, meaningful. I mean, as soon as Britain really got its hands on the land, it began to renege on its commitments in a process that became more and more problematic. It's only the Zionists and the Jews who made sure to come in, to establish self-rule, to make sure that these commitments entered into the international community at the time. The San Remo agreements, the League of Nations mandate, and by their following actions. The State of Israel existed in all but name and independence by 1939. And it was not thanks to British commitment. In fact, everything that happened in those years was because of Jewish and Zionist action against mounting odds, against the fact that both the British began to make it harder and harder and harder, literally closing the gates at the most critical moment for the Jewish people. Local opposition, rational, understood, but still has a responsibility. Local Arab opposition to the very idea of Jewish sovereignty in any part of the land. So everything that was achieved, everything that we have, and the lesson is through consistent, deliberate, focused Jewish action that was animated by a Zionist spirit that said, we are done entrusting our fate to others. Which is why the spirit of the Jewish people, through their actions, what followed Lord Balfour's declaration was, thank you, Lord Balfour, we'll take it from here. That was precisely how things happened. Now, why is it that this supposedly obvious story is not the one you hear? Well, I believe that this is where Zionism continues to present still the biggest challenge to a whole lot of people. The idea that the Jews have become masters of their fate. The idea that the Jews are acting like any other force in history, using diplomatic, economic, military means to pursue realpolitik goals. This idea still grates on the consciousness of wide swaths of peoples and civilizations. The only proper place for Jews in the consciousness of so many is as people who receive, people to whom something is given, people to whom compassion is shown. So the explanation of the birth of the modern state of Israel has to therefore be told as a series of handouts by foreign powers with shady motives. That's the only way you can explain it. So you need to say that Britain gave it over, right? And then you have a campaign for Britain to apologize. Certainly, if Britain has to apologize for anything, it is the betrayal of that initial commitment, which was not much of a commitment. But again, it's not about Britain. It's about the Jews and the Zionists who did it. With or without Britain, we would have achieved it. Because we were now pursuing our own goals. So we pursued them with the Ottoman Empire, with some success. And when the British became relevant, we pursued it with the British. And then when the Soviets became relevant, we got the assistance of the Soviets, and then the French, and then the Americans. But they are not the ones that matter. They're the ones that change. What matters is our deliberate action in pursuit of that goal. And this is where the story also of the state of Israel being born after the Holocaust, because supposedly some guilty European nations gave the miserable Jews some land to which they had no connection. So except for the fact that literally guilt is the last emotion that you witnessed among European nations after the Holocaust, this was not about anything given. This was about something attained. Israel existed in all but name and independence pre-World War II. And just as Pakistan and India did not need a genocide of a third of their people to attain independence and statehood, neither would we. We would have come into existence finally thanks to the dissolution of the British Empire. It is said that 4 empires had to disappear for the Jewish people to finally exercise their self-determination. Most peoples had to wait for one empire to disappear. We had to wait out 4. We had to wait the Austro-Hungarian Empire disappearing so that along with all its peoples, the Jewish people can finally name themselves as a people worthy of self-determination, for the Russian Empire to disappear, for us to be free of them, for the Ottoman Empire to disappear so that we could return to our land, and finally for the British Empire to disappear so that we would no longer depend on anyone to open or close our gates to our people. And the reason we have achieved everything we achieved is being focused, determined to wait out all these empires. And we were so focused about what we wanted to achieve that even though at the critical moment, the United Nations, the heir of the League of Nations, said to us, well, guys, we're kind of reneging on a promise of our predecessor, the League of Nations. You're not getting all of the land from the river to the sea. You're getting half of it, mostly desert. And we know you're called the Zionist movement, but no Zion for you guys. You're not getting Jerusalem. And we know you're called the Jewish people, which literally in every language except French and English is the Judean people. Juda, Yehudim, Judea. So you are the Judean people. Judea is the cradle of your civilization, but no Judea for you. Judea will be part of the Arab state. So the Zionist leadership gets an offer, a proposal, a support, non-binding, an idea that says you can have the mastery of your fate, but without any of the lands, the areas that symbolize your culture and civilization, in only half of what was promised. And in one of the most remarkable moments, the Zionist leadership says yes. And it says yes because from 1897 to 1948 and on, it was focused, it was determined on the most important thing for the Jewish people, that we are finally masters of our fate, done entrusting who we are, how we operate, to the kindness, and mostly not so kindness, of strangers. So on this centennial, I do repeat, thank you, Lord Balfour, but we'll take it from here. Thank you.